And I believe you said earlier that you were selected for this position by Wells Fargo.
Well, what happened was Wells Fargo is represented by a Boston law firm, and there are two insurers, and one of the insurers is represented by Aaron Fox in New York. And so the interviews were in New York, and then they recommended me to the parking authority, who didn't object, and then they made the recommendation to the Common Pleas Court.
And so you were actually appointed as receiver by Common Pleas Court.
That's correct, yes, and recommended by the out-of-town folks.
And can you tell us who or what entity determined your pay rate?
The court approved a rate. I had submitted a rate to, I believe I had submitted a rate to the trustee rather than to the court, and it was the trustee that incorporated that into the language that was submitted to the court.
Thank you. And so, just to make this clear, no member of City Council selected you, appointed you, or determined your rate of pay. Is that correct?
Oh, that's correct. Nor did anyone else in City Hall in the administration.
Thank you.
Okay.
And once again, who selected then Central Parking as the management for the 5 garages?
Yeah. I selected them officially, but I also received input from the insurers that had interviewed Central and other folks, including a firm called AMPCO, which is a large firm. I don't recall where their office is, but they were, in both cases, both firms were interviewed here in Scranton.
I see. And Councilman Rogan, do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, just a few brief questions, and I apologize for being a little late. I was stuck on 81. The first question, and it doesn't come from me, it comes from the residents of the city. One of the gripes that people have with the current situation at the parking authority is the $100 an hour rate of pay. And I would like to ask you if you would consider working for a lower rate.
No, I wouldn't, any more than the folks that you have in professional capacities throughout all of city government or anywhere else. You know, that is my rate, and the answer is I would not.
It's frustrating when, a lot of people are coming to us and saying, I don't even make $100 in a day, and we're paying, $100 an hour with all the debt and all the problems that you outlined. But you believe that rate is justified for the duties?
I do. I said that's what my rate is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is all I had. I appreciate you coming in and taking the time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And if I may, though, typically, Mr. Washo, would you say that you work a 40-hour week, or does it vary for you?
I appreciate that question, Madam Chairperson. I started, and I appreciate your question, giving me the opportunity to answer it. I am now working 47% of what I worked in my first full month. I work alone. I report to the trustee and I report to the insurers. I have great respect for Solicitor Hughes, and I oftentimes seek his advice, but I work alone. I don't work with Central Parking. I don't work with anyone else. And so I have control of my hours. But I'm conscious of just what both of you are asking and both of you have said. This is a going rate. It's not an extraordinary rate at all. There's a famous quote by James Abbott McNeill Whistler, the painter. Someone said to him once, $100 for that painting? He said, no, for the knowledge of a lifetime. And so I really love that particular quote. But I have been very sensitive to hours, and I'm now working at about 47% of what it was that I was working when I came here and the number of hours. And I think that's satisfactory. I don't think that I deserve a star for that. I just think that I'm very conscious of all that, too.
I just